fact that Blake Lively has been rude and cruel to people throughout her career.
Blake Lively is spiraling as her co-stars and friends start exposing her dirty past one by one.
Anna, what does it mean to be working with Blake again?
Oh, talking about you all day.
Oh my God.
Her once spotless reputation is bleeding out fast, and the cracks are impossible to hide.
He was slamming Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. He basically said that they effed up.
They're revealing how she manipulated them behind the scenes. The same shady playbook she's now using against Justin Baldoni.
And no amount of I'm sorry's will ever undo it. Hurt people hurt people.
Blake Lively's perfect little princess image is finally catching up with her. And honestly, it's about time. For years, she's paraded around like the poster child of Hollywood elegance, flashing that fake smile and pretending she's just another down-to-earth mom who happens to be married to Ryan Reynolds and living the dream.
And so the more time we got to spend with Blake Lively, the less we liked her.
Well, guess what, Blake? In 2025, no one's buying it anymore. Your America's Sweetheart act is officially dead, buried, and stomped on.
So she's that dramatic in a release statement. She probably was even more dramatic in like just being the friend that supports your friend even when you know you're lying.
And honestly, the collapse is beautiful to watch. It's like the universe finally woke up and decided, yeah, let's humble Blake a little. Lawsuits are flying around like confetti at her imaginary comeback party. And it's not just Blake sinking. She's pulling Ryan Reynolds and Leslie Sloan down with her like a shipwreck captain who refuses to go down alone.
It is just ridiculous, and it just feels so incredibly hypocritical.
If there were a reality show called Hollywood's Biggest Legal Clown Show, Blake would be the main event, and Ryan would be awkwardly clapping in the background. Fast forward to April 2025, where things officially hit peak delusion. Blake's team had the chance to show a tiny sliver of decency in court. You know, basic human courtesy like agreeing to a simple deadline extension. But no, Queen Blake doesn't do courtesy. Justin Baldoni's team at Wayfair politely asked for a little breathing room, just an extension. And Blake's team? They slam the door in their face faster than Blake accepts a movie role where she plays yet another bland rich woman.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's just weird. I don't get it. We'll see why, but they seem to want to make it as difficult as possible, which I guess is part of a plan. And if you want to be, and all the drown them in paperwork is what they're trying to do. And maybe that's, I could see that maybe of just like, Justin's side has so much more going for them.
And while Justin and Wayfair were out here answering over 500 discovery demands, yeah, 500, Blake's team was acting like they were too important to even acknowledge them. It's hilarious because the judges in federal court aren't exactly dazzled by Hollywood tantrums. March 2026 is the official trial deadline, and spoiler alert, judges don't award Oscars for Best Courtroom Diva.
To just keep constantly drowning them and costing more money and just stressing them probably is part of the plan in a way to like just turn the screw that way, whereas Brian keeps threatening them with all the, depositions of celebrities and friends that are gonna come out and expose you.
But Blake being Blake, of course, it gets worse. Welcome to round 2 of Blake's courtroom circus, her team's heroic refusal to cooperate. Honestly, you have to admire the consistency. If there's one thing Blake's team excels at, it's being petty.
Unbelievable. Blake Lively's team will not cooperate in court.
After already throwing a tantrum over basic extensions, Blake and her loyal sidekick, Leslie Sloan, decided to crank the insanity up to 11. They served Justin's side a jaw-dropping 1,600 plus discovery requests and 179 interrogatories. 1,600. That's not legal work. That's harassment dressed up in Prada.
That Blake and Leslie's parties will not agree to push their hearings and stuff. Basically, Wayfair was served with 31 different sets of interrogatories from the Lively Sloan parties.
And it gets better. After drowning Justin's team in more paperwork than Blake has photoshopped Instagram posts, they turned around and acted shocked. Shocked. When Justin's side asked for a 30-day extension, from April 14th to May 14th, 2025. That's it, 1 month. And yet, Blake's team clutched their pearls and flat out refused. No reason given. Just pure ego and pettiness on display for the world to see.
They refused. They refused consent, and they would not provide any real reason for their reasoning. They objected without reason, and objected because April 18th deadline is not dependent on the timing of the court's order to motion dismiss.
Oh, and for the cherry on top, they pulled the same garbage when Justin's lawyer's house burned down. Imagine being so obsessed with winning that you can't even show basic human compassion after a literal house fire.
Blake Lively's team also refused to delay when Brian Friedman's house burned down, which the judge did ultimately agree to.
Blake's team really said, "Tough luck, peasant. Deadlines wait for no one." And now the judge is sitting there, side-eyeing Blake's team like, are you serious right now? Because refusing basic court courtesies doesn't make you look strong. It makes you look like a spoiled brat throwing a fit at the playground.
Anyway, now they're writing the judge. Their unreasonable refusal to agree to mutual professional courtesies, none of which would prejudice any party. Wayfarer respectfully requested the court extend the deadline of parties responding to the interrogatories to served upon them to May 14th and extend the deadline for parties to move to amend their pleadings.
But don't worry, Blake wasn't done embarrassing herself yet. Oh no, she had a master plan. Welcome to the Blake Lively School of Dirty Legal Games, where everything is smoke, mirrors, and weaponized paperwork. Experts are already laughing at how obvious it is. Blake's team isn't trying to win with facts or evidence.
Is the reasoning here? It's like bonkers to me that every time they get a chance to try to be fair or neutral, they refuse.
No, they're trying to drown Justin Baldoni in legal fees by filing mountains of nonsense until he taps out just to make it stop. Very mature behavior from a woman who used to lecture everyone about feminism and empowerment, right?
I let go of so much, and I gave it to him.
And just when you think Blake couldn't get more ridiculous, she somehow tops herself. Her team filed an 800-page motion just to dismiss claims against Jed Wallace. 800 pages. You could literally kill a small tree with that much paper.
Gosh, Lively put one out for the Jed Wallace that had like 800 pages, trying to port over all this. It's a lot, Kim, right?
But sure, Blake, tell us again how you're the relatable girl next door while your legal team reenacts War and Peace in court. It's almost like she thinks courtrooms are movie sets. And if she just floods the script department with enough paper, she'll win an Oscar for most obnoxious litigant. Meanwhile, Justin's lawyer, Brian Friedman, is out here dropping hints that celebrity depositions are on the horizon.
Just turn the screw that way, whereas Brian keeps threatening them with all the, depositions of celebrities and friends that are gonna come out and expose you. One way to really drain your opponent is to just file.
Can you imagine Blake and Ryan getting dragged into a courtroom and having to testify under oath without a PR team whispering answers in their ears? Ryan better start preparing his sad puppy face, because it's going to be brutal.
And of course, it's not good for Blake or Ryan.
And the hypocrisy is the real kicker. Blake and Leslie Sloan are out here crying about how overwhelmed they are with discovery requests, while they're the ones who started the avalanche. It's like setting your neighbor's house on fire and then complaining about the smoke in your own backyard. You can't make this stuff up.
I don't think it's a good look. It's a bit ridiculous, especially when, in the case of Leslie, she has complained about how much discovery has been thrown at her, and it is like a fraction of what the Wayfarer parties have had to deal with.
At this point, the judges, who, let's be real, have seen every kind of Hollywood nonsense, are probably rolling their eyes so hard they can see their own brains. Judges hate litigants who abuse the legal system, and Blake's entire tantrum strategy could backfire spectacularly. One more diva move from her team, and the judge might just start handing out sanctions like party favors.
As far as Leslie Sloan and Blake Lively can say why, why they're not agreeing. So I guess we will find out one way or the other. That should be in by Friday, so.
Blake Lively's attempt to strong-arm her way through court is crashing harder than her last attempt at being relevant. Watching her unravel has been better than Netflix, and the best part? She's doing it all to herself. No one needed to take her down. She's out here swinging at the air, tripping over her own ego, and face-planting in front of the entire industry.
I don't like her. She seems like a bully. She was such a high-maintenance diva bully brat.
And don't worry, the circus isn't over yet. Blake's legal strategy is so bad, even Ryan's Deadpool sarcasm couldn't save it. Between refusing court deadlines, pulling heartless moves after literal disasters, and throwing 800-page temper tantrums, Blake Lively has officially gone from Queen of Hollywood to Queen of Courtroom Clowns. Stay tuned. The meltdown is only just beginning.
Not supporting Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, which, I mean, he is a big celebrity and has a huge following.
Just when you thought Blake Lively couldn't sink her career any faster, she went and added the New York Times to her little PR disaster. Because why not, right? If you're going down, might as well drag an entire newspaper with you.
New York Times, you really messed up because Harvey's not entirely wrong. Because you look like complete idiots due to the fact that you didn't do your homework. And you did screw over Justin. It's factual at this point.
Turns out the metadata, yes, the cold, heartless tech stuff, is hinting that the New York Times might have been cozied up with Blake behind the scenes. That's right. Blake allegedly found her new BFFs not at a celebrity brunch, but at the NYT headquarters. Journalism? Nah, more like fan fiction writing at this point. And before anyone tries to argue this is totally normal, let's hit pause for a tiny history lesson. The New York Times versus Sullivan case basically made it impossible to sue the Times for defamation if you're a public figure. Seriously, you could catch the New York Times calling you an alien from Mars, and you'd still have a hard time winning. Even Trump tried and failed. Sarah Palin gave it a shot too, and ended up looking like she couldn't find Russia from her backyard, let alone a winning argument. So Blake Lively thinking she's going to take down the New York Times? That's adorable. Someone please send her a Know Your Limits handbook.
Blake Lively manipulated her audiences and lied to her audiences.
Judge Lyman, who must be exhausted from babysitting this whole circus, already warned Blake's side back in February 2025. Hey geniuses, the New York Times has litigation privilege. Translation, stop embarrassing yourselves. But did Blake listen? Of course not. Why listen to a federal judge when you can keep crashing your own reputation in real time? And just when you thought this couldn't turn into a bigger joke, guess who decided to crawl out of the sewers and chime in? None other than Harvey Weinstein.
Also, why is Harvey talking about Justin? Yuck!
Yes, Harvey freaking Weinstein. Watching him pop up and defend Blake was the PR equivalent of setting yourself on fire to stay warm. Harvey went on some emotional monologue about how the New York Times cherry-picked facts against him, and poor him, he should have fought back harder. Bro, you're literally serving prison time. Maybe sit this one out.
Maybe that is sort of a brutal torture trap they're trying to do. I don't know. It's the only thing I can sort of make sense of it. Meanwhile, make sense of this. Harvey W. Feels for Baldoni. Oh my God, this is disgusting.
Meanwhile, Blake's sitting there probably thinking, yes, Harvey's support will totally fix everything. Like sis, when Harvey Weinstein starts defending you publicly, that's not a win. That's a flashing neon sign that says, you messed up. It's the ultimate chef's kiss of irony. The girl who tried to champion women's empowerment is now getting fist bumps from Hollywood's biggest disgrace. Stunning career move.
The fact that Blake Lively has been rude and cruel to people throughout her career, it's a fact. They didn't even deny that these things have happened.
The New York Times, for their part, responded in the calm, deadpan way only an institution with 50 Pulitzers can. They basically said, none of the facts in our coverage are in dispute. Translation, Blake, sit down, take several seats, and maybe grab a snack because you're not winning this. Honestly, watching the Times politely body Blake's entire argument with one sentence was better than half the movies she's starred in.
He told us that Justin Baldoni claims she tried to take over his movie because she has a history of saying, okay, I'll be the star, but what I secretly want to do is direct it and edit it and produce it.
The Blake Lively reputation destruction tour gets even better with Isabella Ferrer's epic exit. Blake and Isabella never even filmed together, yet Blake allegedly tried pressuring her to back false claims. Isabella, being the queen she is, deleted Blake from her life like toxic waste. The public noticed fast. Isabella's rising, while Blake's just radioactive PR poison now. Daily Mail reported Isabella felt manipulated and betrayed. Honestly, Blake turning allies into enemies this fast should be considered an Olympic sport. And if you think Isabella's shade was an isolated case, oh honey, think again. Blake's manipulation game has been a full-time job behind the scenes. Taylor Swift's team already basically hinted that Blake uses friends like disposable tissues.
But I think that Taylor Swift is publicly backing away from this friendship because she's intelligent.
And now her co-stars are picking up the same vibe. Imagine being so fake that even Taylor Swift's squad, which practically invented squad goals, is giving you side-eye.
Taylor Swift, she is getting deposed. It is happening. I have it on very good authority that Taylor Swift is gonna get subpoenaed.
Blake's leaked text messages are another beautiful disaster. Allegedly, she was planting ideas in people's heads that she was being smeared, even though, and this is the important part, she had zero real evidence. It's like she thought if she said it enough times, it would magically become true. Classic Hollywood logic. Fake it till you make it, and then fake it some more when you get caught.
Here we have seen the evidence, and we haven't seen any evidence from Blake Lively that supports her claims. And I'm sure she's going to cut that out from the actual article. I think it's coming out later this week, at some point next week.
Blake tried dragging 2 mystery actresses into her legal mess, claiming they'd back her up. They didn't. Nobody's risking perjury for the Queen of Delusion. Once they hit depositions, Blake's Instagram fairy tales won't save her. It's either cold, hard truth or crash and burn, and we all know how that's going. In the end, Blake's whole manipulation empire is crumbling faster than her IMDb rankings. Between cozying up to the New York Times, getting public high fives from Harvey Weinstein, trying to recruit actresses who didn't even witness anything, and leaking desperate text messages, she's managed to alienate basically everyone she's ever worked with. It's not just a bad look. It's a full-scale PR apocalypse.
Weinstein, shut up. You have no basis to talk. What are you doing here?
Meanwhile, poor Ryan Reynolds is spotted escaping New York City all by himself, looking like he just saw his entire life flash before his eyes. Dude aged 10 years in a single airport sighting. You can almost hear his inner monologue. This is not the brand partnership I signed up for. Imagine going from Hollywood's snarky golden boy to being known as the guy whose wife blew up their entire empire with one lawsuit. Honestly, Ryan deserves a standing ovation just for surviving this PR nightmare without spontaneously combusting.
There's going to be a lot stronger defamation claims against Ryan Reynolds.
And of course, the desperate PR spin machine is on overdrive. People magazine, bless their hearts, tried to slap some duct tape on the sinking ship by quoting sources saying Blake has no regrets and that she's doing this for her daughters. Right, because nothing teaches your daughters integrity like manipulating co-stars, weaponizing the media, and getting cozy shoutouts from Harvey Weinstein.
Brought back everything I experienced with the Times reported on me in 2017. They did the same thing. Cherry-picked what fit the story and ignored critical context that could have challenged the narrative. I should have stood up and fought back then.
But behind the scenes, insiders are whispering that Blake's camp is in full-blown panic mode. You don't need a gossip columnist to see it. The flop sweat is practically dripping through the screen. Fans and the media aren't buying it either. These used to be the people who screamed couple goals every time Blake and Ryan posted some cutesy roast about each other on Instagram. Now, the comment sections look like a funeral procession. The glamorous golden couple narrative has officially been replaced with clueless, entitled train wrecks. And honestly, it's about time. Because once you get past the PR sparkle, what are Blake and Ryan really selling? Fake humility, curated wokeness, and now, legal disasters.
So he gets Blake Lively. She's married to Ryan Reynolds. These are Hollywood A-listers. He's going to put him on the map. And she agrees to be his female co-star. Great, they're off to the races.
Once adored by Hollywood, Blake and Ryan have downgraded to what can only be described as Hollywood's cringe royalty. You know you've hit rock bottom when Twitter users are dunking on you between Taylor Swift album updates. Every desperate headline, every awkward public appearance, every strained smile just adds another log to the dumpster fire. The illusion is shattered, and no carefully filtered Instagram post is putting it back together.
Taylor Swift, you have to recognize and respect the fact that she is a machine, okay? She is an absolute machine. She will do everything to protect her image.
But let's be real, the best part hasn't even hit yet. Because if Blake still thinks she's heading towards some victorious courtroom moment, somebody better hand her a reality check wrapped in caution tape. Fun legal stat for those keeping score at home: 95% of federal cases either settle or get dismissed, which means all this drama, all this reputation suicide will probably end with a whimper, not a bang. No juicy courtroom showdown, no I rest my case movie moment, just Blake writing a massive check, signing a non-disclosure agreement, and quietly disappearing into irrelevance.
I don't know. This doesn't look like a woman under stress. This doesn't look like a woman who can barely get out of bed, as we've seen in reports. This looks like a woman who cannot wait to be back in the spotlight.
And Judge Lyman? He's made it clear he doesn't want to babysit this Hollywood soap opera until retirement. He's pushing for quick settlement talks, because even he's tired of Blake turning his courtroom into an episode of Real Housewives, entitled Celebrity Edition. Without hard evidence, Blake's so-called conspiracy claims, especially against the New York Times, are basically legally Swiss cheese, and not the good kind. The stale, moldy kind nobody wants at the buffet. So when this inevitably settles, it'll be a silent but brutal admission that Blake lost. And no matter how many horse farm photo ops or I'm doing this for my daughters leaks her PR team drops, everyone will know exactly what happened, because you can't PR spin reality. At least not when half of Hollywood and the internet is laughing at you in real time. And let's not even talk about the bleeding bank account. Legal fees are no joke, especially when you're hiring overpriced PR firms and law firms just to make yourself look even worse. Every day Blake keeps fighting this unwinnable battle is another day she hemorrhages more money and more dignity. It's the slowest, saddest career suicide mission we've seen in years. By the time this flaming disaster finally limps to a quiet settlement, Blake's America's sweetheart image will be nothing more than a dusty relic. A what could have been cautionary tale whispered at brunch tables by other celebrities who now know better than to touch Blake Lively's brand with a 10-foot pole.
I think it means that America Ferrara is no longer supporting Blake Lively.
Because here's the real punchline. Blake Lively tried to build this shiny empire on fake victimhood, on staged vulnerability, on the illusion of moral high ground. She curated every photo, every interview, every red carpet moment to convince the world she was different, more real, more relatable. But behind the designer gowns and Pinterest perfect Instagram feed, it was always smoke and mirrors. Now, the illusion is crumbling in real time, and there's no stylist, no editor, no Ryan Reynolds smirk that can glue it back together. Justin Baldoni, once thought to be the one cornered, is basically sitting back with popcorn watching this implosion unfold like the season finale of a show he never liked anyway. He doesn't even have to lift a finger. Blake's doing all the heavy lifting for him.
I had a intense year. This morning I sent a text message. I had anxiety. Why is that? I haven't talked about this yet, but...
Hollywood's former golden couple is now Hollywood's cautionary tale. They've gone from # couple goals to yikes, maybe we should see other people faster than you can say bad legal advice. It's a masterclass in how not to handle a scandal. Lie badly, leak desperately, act like the victim, weaponize the press, and then be shocked when nobody claps. And seriously, when your co-stars, your supposed friends, and even the New York freaking Times want nothing to do with you, maybe, just maybe, the problem isn't everybody else. Maybe the common denominator isn't a vast conspiracy of haters. Maybe it's just Blake. Because no matter how many horse rides she takes, how many motivational quotes she posts on Instagram, or how many times Ryan flashes a tight, miserable smile on a red carpet, It's over. The curtain's closed. The audience has left. And all that's left is Blake Lively, standing alone in a spotlight that's flickering out by the second. Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button for more Hollywood meltdowns.